Hello and welcome to what's in this week's Oban Times with me, Finn Nixon.
And me, Sandy Neal.
As always, we have lots of interesting news and photographs for you this week in our newspaper and at www.obantimes.co.uk. And remember that here at the Oban Times we also love to hear your stories and see your photographs. You can call us on 01631 568 000, email editor@obantimes.co.uk, or drop us a message on Facebook, Instagram or Twitter. So, what's in the paper this week? Sandy, what has been happening?
Well, thank you very much, Finn. Luing, the Isle of Luing, sent out a clear Save Our School message to education chiefs and officials at a public consultation this week. The session packed a classroom at the mothballed school, leaving standing room only. You can hear a report from inside that room in this week's paper. Visitors to the reopened Kilmartin Museum can look into the eyes of their ancestors. The remains of a Bronze Age woman reburied in her own glass room is just one of the jaw-dropping exhibits on show at the revamped museum that opened its doors to the public after closing in 2021 for renovation work. Alongside the woman's skeleton is a startling reconstruction of her face. As well as Kilmartin Museum's own collection, over 11,000 artefacts are on show for the first time. You can read all about that again in this week's paper and online. Now, a Bristol woman is planning a discovery trip to Mull to investigate ties between Scotland and the African slave trade. Dion McLean has already traced her family tree back to the 1700s, but will be travelling north within the year on a quest to find more answers to questions about her black ancestry. The 44-year-old history buff is hoping that by visiting McLean country and its Duart Castle stronghold, she will be able to uncover her real African name. So far, her research has reached back to 1740 and an African slave in Jamaica called Philip McLean, but how he got his Scottish name is still a story she needs to piece together. That sounds like a fascinating story. Argyll Bute Council is urging short-term let owners to submit applications for the new Scottish Government short-term licensing scheme before the October the 1st deadline. The new short-term let licences are valid for 3 years. The fees equate to £80 annually for a small bed and breakfast with less than 4 guests and £160 annually for a self-catering property for 6 guests. Electric vehicles on ferry decks are no more likely to catch fire than those fuelled by petrol or diesel. CalMac's chief has explained to a councillor from the Whisky Island of Islay. Argyll gets ready to celebrate the first European Folk Day on September the 23rd with a gig in the Memorial Hall. And Oban Pride turned the town into a rainbow extravaganza at the weekend. Again, we have got all the stories and the pictures in this week's Oban Times. Over to you, Finn. What have you got for us?
Thank you, Sandy, and I look forward to picking up a copy. Well, it was a beautiful day for the Dalmally Agricultural Show on Saturday, with crowds flocking to Mart Park to enjoy the high standard of livestock, horticulture and entertainment on show. Ewan McGilvery of Barcaldine Home Farm took one of the main prizes on the day, awarded overall champion in the cattle judging. You can see all the photographs and read more about the show in this week's newspaper. In the sport, we celebrate Bob McIntyre's fantastic achievement after the Oban golfer was selected for the star-studded Team Europe at the Ryder Cup after his performance at the Omega European Masters in Switzerland. Well done, Bob, and we're excited to see him in action at Marco Simone in Rome from the 29th of September. There was also success for Alison Roger in Belgium, with the North Argyll cyclist battling her way to third place in the Swimming and Cycling Aquabike Championships in Menin. Well done, Alison. Elsewhere, there was a tremendous turnout for the John McGeechan Memorial Trophy at Glencruthen Golf Course, and Oban Saints footballers got their season up and running. We also have a roundup from a busy weekend for Oban Youth Rugby, with some strong starts to the season for Oban Lawrence youngsters, and the Oban Ravens squash team are making their last preparations before this year's big boot camp weekend, where they will take part in a range of activities, including a 10-mile race with an Arctic tyre. As always, you can read all these stories we have mentioned and more at www.obantimes.co.uk or by picking up a newspaper in local shops and petrol stations. And don't forget, if you have a story, get in touch. You can call us on 01631 568 000, email editor@obantimes.co.uk, or drop us a message on one of our social media platforms. That's it from us this week though, so it's goodbye from me, Finn Nixon.
And goodbye from me, Sandy Neal.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, 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 hey.